Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都还难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin. Joining me today, Georgia Massett. Hello, Georgia.
Hello, everyone. It's always such a great pleasure to be here.
It's always a pleasure having you on the show. I actually have never asked you this, but what inspired you to start learning Chinese from the very beginning?
Well, many things inspired me. I have many friends from Chinese origins that live in Italy. Italy and China have very good relations, so we have a big people-to-people exchange. And through this, actually, I live in the city of Venice, which is the hometown of Marco Polo, which is the first European explorer that actually went to China. For this reason, relations between the two countries and city in particular have always been so big, and there were many so interesting conferences and also galleries, shows, and presentations of books. And this got me very into the Chinese culture as first, and then I decided to attend the University of Venice that teaches Chinese and Chinese culture and history, and this is the reason why.
Ah, very interesting. And I was wondering, have you ever learned in any Confucius Center? Because there are many Confucius centers, yes, out there in overseas countries and trying to promote Chinese learning and teaching Chinese courses and teaching different Chinese culture-related elements and artifacts and also cultural heritage, a lot of like that. And I think I have been talking to some students learning Chinese, and many of them have had the experience of learning in Confucius institutes.
Yes, and I think it's a great way also because my university was affiliated to a Confucius Center, so they had classes in common, but it's also a way for foreigners to have a Chinese certificate and AKSK, we say HSK, and then followed by a number. The higher number goes until 6 is the highest level you can reach in Chinese. And this is for us a way to learn how to have this certification, and it really helps. I visited once also in Tunisia that has very recently opened a Confucius Institute, and it's very, in Italy is way more popular, but it's becoming more popular also in other countries.
In that case, I was wondering, do you know about Confucius, the man himself? Because we hear about Confucius quite a lot, I would assume. But do you actually know about Confucius, know some of his famous sayings, know his school of thought?
Well, from what I, of course, know, he was born during, he was active during the spring and autumn period. And I know a couple of texts, and the 5 classics is one of those that we have seen in school together. And then, of course, he was the father of Confucianism that is still very popular and a school of thought, I would say, in many countries, not only China. I have many Korean friends, and they are very influenced by it, and in a day-to-day life also, I would say.
Yes, actually Confucius in China also got this fun nickname. We call him 万世师表.
万世师表.
Yes, 万世 means 10,000 generations. 师老师为人师表表率老师 is teacher 表率 is like model example. So he is like the teacher example for generations after generations, for 10,000 generations. So it's like he's the teacher.
万世师表.
Yes, that is the kind of reputation, the kind of importance people attach to Confucius. So definitely, I agree. If you want to learn the Chinese language, if you want to learn the Chinese culture, you need to understand the Chinese philosophy. You need to understand the origin of the entire essence of the Chinese culture. And that starts with the spring and autumn period, that starts with the Confucianism, with Taoism, with, for example, 孙子, with 墨子, with all these different but ancient wise sages, and they are actually the starting point of Chinese culture. So let's start with Confucius for today's episode. For our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway.
真不敢相信，我已经10年没来中国了。
这次你想去哪里看看呢？
我想去孔子的故乡，了解一下这个对后世产生深远影响的老师。
没问题，我们一起去。借用孔子的话说，有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎。
And that is the conversation. See, every time when I hear the conversation, I feel like it's the conversation we should be having, and it's the places that I should be taking you to.
I would absolutely love this. And it's great that every time I see ourselves having this conversation when I finally come to China.
Yes. So for the first sentence, 真不敢相信，我已经10年没来中国了。
I really can't believe it. It's been 10 years since I last came to China.
真的
Really?
不敢
No, I can't. I'm not certain.
Yes, actually 不敢 in itself means not dare to, not courageous enough to. But actually, I think you are translating it quite right. It's just I can't. And because 相信 here is believe, 相信. So 不敢相信, I cannot believe this. I dare not to believe this. The fearful element in the expression is almost to none, even though the direct translation means dare not to, but it does not carry the meaning of I am too afraid to do this. It's more like I cannot believe or I cannot do this. So 真不敢相信.
I can't wrap my head around.
Yes, 我
I
已经
already
10年
10 years
没
I don't
来中国
that I don't come to China.
So here, this 10年没来中国了, it's saying that I haven't been doing this for this period of time. So this 没 something, 了 kind of structure is trying to say how long you have not done something. It is not difficult, but the word order is different from the regular pattern for expressing duration. If there's a consistent keyword in the pattern, it's going to be 没, since it's almost always plays this role. So you can just remember subject plus 已经 duration plus 没 plus verb plus 了 is the structure. It sounds a bit wordy, but actually it's quite easy. For example, 他们已经2天没吃东西了.
They haven't eaten anything for 2 days already. So it's been 2 days that they haven't done this certain action.
Exactly. So it has been this period of time since this action has happened. So like you said, we can also say, for example, 我们已经10年没见了.
Oh, we haven't seen each other for already 10 years.
Yes. So how about you come up with a sentence?
It's a little gross, but he has already gone a whole week without showering. 他已经1个星期没洗澡了.
Perfect. 他已经 he already 1个星期 the time duration 没洗澡 is the verb taking a shower 了没 do something 了他已经1个星期没洗澡了. Perfect.
It's very in my head it's like something that has not happened is regular, so it's there for a period of time, then everything takes place. I don't know if I'm wrong.
I think it's perfect. It's how you remember it.
Very clear.
Yes. So that's that. And then we move on to the next sentence. 这次你想去哪里看看呢?
Where would you like to visit this time?
这次
this time.
This time. 你
You.
想去
想去 what do you want to do to go?
哪里
There?
Where?
Where?
Yes.
Sorry.
哪里 there. 哪里 where. No worries. This is a little hard because the only difference would be the tone. So 那里 there. 哪里 where. 你想去哪里
Where?
看看呢? Where do you want to go and have a look? Go take a look. Go see. 去哪里看看呢?
去看看 to see.
Yes. 我想去孔子的故乡。了解一下这个对后世产生深远影响的老师。
我想去孔子的故乡，了解一下这个对后世产生深远影响的老师。I want to visit the hometown of Confucius to learn more about this sage who had such a profound impact on later generations.
Yes, so 我想
I want to.
I want to, I wish to. We see this quite so often, and the way to use it is quite straightforward. Just say somebody wish to do something. So 有人想做什么事儿 It's quite straightforward. For example, if I want to ask you, 你想去吗?
Where do you want to go?
Would you like to go?
Would you like to go?
Yes, if you want to ask 你想去哪里, that's where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go?
Yes. Or I can say 我不想见他.
I don't want to see her.
I don't want to
or
see
him.
her or him. Yes. Or let's make it harder for you. How to say, would you like to see a movie this weekend?
你想不想这个周末一起一个电影看看？
一起看电影 You have to put the verb.
一起看电影。
Yes, perfect. 你想不想这个周末一起看电影 Perfect.
Thank you.
That's how you use 想做什么想 do something kind of structure. Quite straightforward. We've seen it several times, but I recently realized that for those that we take for granted, the kind of verb or adjective or the kind of sentence structure that we feel like we understand and we know about already, that we are quite familiar with, we should take some time to practice them so that we can actually use them more actively in our daily conversations. That's why we tried to practice with the 想 structure a bit today.
想去。
Yes. And here, 我想去孔子的故乡. We know 孔子 is Confucius. 故乡
故乡 hometown.
Hometown. 我想去孔子的故乡 hometown. 了解
了解 to learn.
To learn about. Yes. 了解一下
A little bit. Learn a little.
Yes. It's not really saying this person plans to learn only a little bit. It's just being modest. Being gentle and lighten the tone. 这个
This.
对
对 in to.
To or towards. Yes, perfect.
Towards, yes.
后世
后世 future generations.
Yes, future generations, future world. So 后 means later or future. 世代 that's generations. Future generations. 后世产生
to produce.
To produce, to generate. 深远影响
深远影响 such a profound impact.
Yes. Actually, we know 深 means deep. 远 means far. So if the influence is very deep and it's very far, it is definitely profound. And 影响 is the impact or influence. And here, 产生深远影响. I think for those of you who are listening for Georgia, you can actually remember these 6 characters together. Remember these 3 words together. Put them together and just always say 产生深远影响. Because the correlation is that 产生影响. So generate an impact. And 深远影响 profound impact. We use them together quite very much. And it is hard to find similar words to express same meaning. So I think this is how you can even treat it as set phrase. And that's how you learn a new language. Yes, you learn a new language by following what people using that language would say in their daily lives. And 产生深远影响 is almost a set phrase. So remember it, use it, and in the future, it is your active vocabulary.
Perfect. 产生深远影响 I have to remember.
Yes. And 老师 teacher.
Teacher.
Yes. 没问题，我们一起去。
No problem. Let's go together.
Perfect. 没问题。
没问题 No problem.
我们
We
一起去。
一起去 to go together.
To go together. And actually 一起 do something. You can always do something together. 可以一起去 go together. 一起吃 eat together. 一起回家 go home together. Just 一起 together.
一起。
借用孔子的话说，有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎。
To borrow a quote from Confucius, isn't it a pleasure to have friends come from afar?
Yes. So 借用
借用 to borrow.
To borrow, yes. 借 means to borrow, and 借用, again, 用 is use, but together 借用 is to borrow. So in China, when we cite someone, sometimes we can say 引用. Cite someone, quote someone. We can also say 借用. We're borrowing this very beautiful sentence from this very wise man. So we say 借用.
借用. Can I ask, can it be used to borrow actual things, material things?
Actually, yes. You can say,
Okay.
我可以借用一下你的笔吗? Can I borrow your pen? You can say that.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. And 孔子 is Confucius. 孔子的话 is Confucius' words. 说借用 somebody 的话说 is kind of like a set phrase. You can use it for anybody as well.
借用.
有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎? Do you understand this one?
Yes, like Peng is Pengyo. Isn't it nice to have friends that come from far in the world?
Yes, perfect. Because this is ancient saying. It's not modern Chinese grammar. So it is perfectly okay if you find it a bit awkward, if you find it a bit unlike the kind of Chinese you hear so much every day now. Because this is 孔子的话. This is Confucius saying, and it's ancient Chinese. So 有 there is or have 朋友 that's friends 自来自 from 远方 far away places 来 come. So when friends from afar come 不亦乐乎 isn't it a pleasure? 不亦乐乎
It certainly is. 不亦乐乎.
Yes, 不亦乐乎. Does that make you very happy? That is the translation for 不亦乐乎. So, 有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎. This is one of the most famous sayings from Confucius.
Yeah, it's always very actual.
So, do you have any questions towards the conversation?
No, you cleared all my doubts.
Great, let's give it a go.
Let's do this. 真不敢相信，我已经10年没来中国了。
这次你想去哪里看看呢？
我想去孔子的故乡了解一下这个对后世产生深远影响的老师。
没问题，我们一起去。借用孔子的话说，有朋自远方来，不亦乐乎。You're listening to Takeaway Chinese. With myself, Niu Hongling, and Georgia, we would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about some fun things about Confucius and some famous sayings that we should cite in the future. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Hongling, joined by Georgia. Are you interested in learning more about Confucius and taking a trip to his hometown? Actually, Bianca is currently there to provide you with all the information you need. Let's take a listen.
Hello everyone, it's Bianca in Qufu, the hometown of the legendary Confucius. Qufu is located in East China's Shandong province. This city is packed with places to dive into Confucius' legacy. I've been here for about a week, and here are some must-visit places if you come here. The first is the Confucius Museum. The museum features numerous exhibits related to Confucius' life, his philosophical teachings, and the historical context in which he lived. As we toured the museum, we encountered many school-age students there. I'm not surprised, since the book titled The Analects of Confucius has enlightened almost every kid in China. Now it's been translated into over 40 languages. The second place I recommend visiting is Nishan Sacred Land. Here you can see a 72-meter statue of Confucius, symbolizing his 72 great disciples. Additionally, you can try out some traditional Chinese craftsmanship firsthand. I personally enjoyed creating rubbings from inscriptions found on ancient stone tablets. Next to Nishan Secret Land is Luyuantang. This is the place where Confucius grew up. Now it has turned into a culture hub. We saw lots of performers in traditional Chinese attire, dancing, performing, and playing instruments. It's like you time travel back to ancient China. On this trip, I met many foreign friends. They shared a few of their experiences from their visit here.
My name is Thomas Dubois. I'm a historian, and I'm from the United States, and I teach in Beijing Normal University. And the first time I came to Shandong was almost 25 years ago. So I'm very familiar with Confucius culture. He is extremely important not just to Chinese culture, but to Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese culture all across East Asia. Confucius is really the foundation, not him as a person, but the school that he represents is really the foundation of all of East Asian culture.
I'm Javier from Ecuador. I'm currently working in Peking University as a researcher. Confucius is very related to my field. I very much like to promote education because education is very important for us to share some knowledge, share a different culture, expand and learn a little bit from different places because the world is such a big place and we have so many interesting stories. So through education, exchanging, meeting different people at forums, so we can have that connectivity and definitely learn, which is very, very important for generation and to find peace.
Hello, my name is Drat. I'm from Uzbekistan and it's my second time trip to China. Confucius is very popular in our country as well. You can learn about his life, his ideology at schools, at universities, and we are taught about him. Because his ideology and suggestions implemented in our life very similar to our national traditions as well. Like respect each other, family is first. You have to believe to each other.
My name is Nicholas Jones. I'm a philosophy professor from the University of Alabama in Huntsville. I've been visiting China for 2 weeks. So I teach some of Confucius's philosophy in my introduction to philosophy classes. My students really love to learn about philosophies from other cultures. I think one of the things they like to learn most about Confucian thought is the role of ritual in cultivating people. In my culture in the United States, we have public education, but we sort of leave cultivation of morality to individuals and families to do on their own. I think the students are very intrigued by sort of a shared sense of how to cultivate children that Confucian thought offers.
I'm Pedro. I'm from Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is my 4th time in China, and I've been here before studying Chinese at Jinan Dashui. Among many things that Confucius taught us in the world, there's something that always amazes me, is that the understanding of the single individual as a part of a mechanism of a great society and to help society move forward through success and well-being.
What's your impression of Confucius? Is there a particular aspect of his philosophy that interests you? Leave us a message.
I envy Bianca now. She is in the hometown of Confucius and she is learning and chatting with all the Chinese enthusiasts and they're having such a great time. And I wish I were there.
I was just about to say that Bianca is living the dream. I would love to be there as well.
Yes, but the next best thing we can do is to learn some sayings said actually by Confucius. As a renowned Chinese philosopher, educator, and politician, he said a lot of very wise things, and people recorded his sayings as well as the conversation he had with his disciples and the conversation actually debate he had with other sages, other zi, and it was very, very fun. But let's start with the simple ones, with the relatively more straightforward ones. 己所不欲，勿施于人. Have you heard of this one?
Actually, never.
己所不欲，勿施于人 basically means do not impose to others what you do not wish for yourself. So if you don't want it, don't do it to others.
I think we have this saying, we use it on a daily basis, but I think no one actually knows where it comes from. But it's very, very cited everywhere.
Yes, it is very wise, and I think we should always say that to ourselves because in modern days, it is very easy to generate or to form this circle of anger. Once you met something that you feel unhappy in your workplace, you cannot really shout out to your boss. So when you're dying in, you started to shout to the waiter or waitress, and that is the moment that you should tell yourself, 己所不欲，勿施于人. You do not want others to be not nice to you, to be impolite to you. So do not be impolite to others. In modern day China, some people say 因为淋过雨，所以学会给别人撑伞. Basically mean that because I have been walking in the rain, so now I have an umbrella and I know to lend my umbrella to others. I think it's the same connotation, only that 1,000 years ago, Confucius has said the same thing in this very nice and short, very concise and wise way.
That's what I like. It's so concise, so short, but at the same time, it teaches such a valuable lesson throughout millennia, and it's still very important today to wake up and say this to ourselves, as you said, and never forget it.
Yes. And another saying I also enjoy quite so much and I try to use as my motto is 三人行，必有我师焉，择其善者而从之，其不善者而改之. It basically means when three people walk together, 三人行，必有我师焉, there must be one that can surely be my teacher. 择其善者而从之. If there's something that he is really good at, I can learn from that. 择其不善者而改之. If there's something that he's doing a really bad job at, then I will learn how his bad behaviors are affecting himself as well as others and never do that. So basically learning from the good examples and the bad examples. And there's always something that you can learn from others.
It is extremely nice because, as you said, everybody can actually teach us something. Even if it's for the bad, we can learn how not to behave the same way.
Yes. So we talked about Confucius being the teacher for all future generations, for thousands and 10,000s generations teachers, for a good reason, because he is definitely a really good educator and he tells people how to not only certain knowledge, but more importantly, how to learn, how to be a more knowledgeable person and how to be a better person, how to cultivate their own characters, how to learn their place in the world. That is more important. In ancient China, actually traditionally in China, teachers are much more than just passing on wisdom and passing on knowledge. More importantly, the cultivation of character, the building of one's spirit and strength is also the responsibility for teachers. And today's teachers are also doing that. But definitely, I think it's because Confucius has set us a really good example.
It's the most important role in a person's life. A teacher, we always remember a teacher that has changed our life or even guided us to where we are right now. And we should put it even more as an important figure in our minds.
Yes, and in the future, hopefully we can learn more about Confucius and also Mencius and Laozi, Zhuangzi, Sunzi, so many zi out there. They were all very wise. They have their different beliefs, but they can all guide us in certain occasions. And I think in this fast-moving world, when we meet different problems, when we face different challenges, we definitely need different kinds of Chinese wisdom to guide us through. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Georgia. For more fun episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and a 5-star rating. 感谢收听，我们下次再见。
Goodbye everyone. Thank you for this very interesting episode. 再见。